Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Marie Brio.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from our two socially distant studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we try to bring you progressive news and views that you can use. You can find all of our previous works at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com, all podcast platforms, YouTube, and proudly part of the Demcast USA network. So, Murray, today we're going to talk about falling elephants because look out!
I am
They're
thoroughly
falling.
You're right, Heidi, and I am so perplexed by the whole situation. And by falling elephants, we're referring to the Republican Party and the split that has now finally come to a head. And
Yeah.
this split to me seems hanky. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. There's a stink coming off of this.
Yeah.
And I mean, a part of me feels like I should be very appreciative of the fact that you have legislators denouncing the fact that Democrats eat babies. That we've sunk so far
Wait a minute,
that
Murray. Where
uh,
were these legislators before the insurrection? Because they weren't saying anything about it, including one of our featured cast members today, Adam Kinzinger, who even retweeted some of the QAnon BS over the last year, I should say. And all of a sudden, the Q has turned on him, as part of the Republican Party. So,
so it's a really good. I mean, you're Heidi. We've questioned this multiple times, and it's a very interesting split. You have
yes.
the party of Trump, who is
Yes.
freewheeling with facts and information, who doesn't care about much of anything. And then you
And
have what
certainly
the
not about
GOP.
that.
Right. Well, the GOP has always been founded on hatred and racism and power. We know that. So Trump
Yeah.
seems to fit in line perfectly with that.
Right.
The Q conspiracy is a little bit much. Usually we think of Republicans as being straight laced, boring, uber conservative. So the fact that they embrace this whole like baby eating concept is a little weird. But I'm so incredibly perplexed at why would, knowing the history of the Republican Party, knowing it's the party that you're in, why would you buck Trump? I mean, really, it can't be Q. Do you think it was the insurrection that made those legislators
Well,
finally wake up?
yes, it was the insurrection. And at the point of January 6th, when Trump sent people to storm the Capitol, and we're sure that that's happening and it's unrolling before our very eyes, that not only did he send them, but that this was a pre-measured, pre-planned,
In
pre-organized event
reporting
that was
from
organized back in November.
the New York
So,
Times in their
right,
article, the groundbreaking work, 77 Days,
right.
it talks about exactly what you just mentioned, how the permits were for a protest. There was to be no walking to the Capitol. That was never a part of the plan. That was never a part of the protest. The White
Mm-hmm.
House and Donald Trump made the decision to send them down to the Capitol. That was never part of the original plan. So if that's not citing insurrection, what is?
I don't know what is, Murray, and that's we've covered that, and we will cover that again because insurrection's not going to go away. Even though the Republican Party's like, it's been 3 weeks, can't you guys just get over it? Can't you get over the fact that we were going to hang Mike Pence and hang Nancy Pelosi and dismember AOC? Can't you guys just get over that? Ted Cruz? No, we cannot. So, but what we're seeing here is a schism in the party, and I think the party's going to end up splitting multiple ways. Now, we know from across the board in states where you have to declare a party, in Colorado is one of those, that they've had tens of thousands of defections from the Republican Party. People have gone to the internet, gone to their state website, and changed their party affiliation. Now, did they become Democrats? No. Well, some of them did. Most of them became unaffiliated. Some of them went to Libertarian, and and that kind of goes with the ones that went to Libertarian. Kind of surprised me because definitely Libertarian. Well, I guess if there was an authoritarian party, that's where the Q people would go. But Murray, we're seeing this split, and we're seeing that the split in real time. Now, right after the insurrection, you had some people step right up and get right into the anti-Trump, I'm voting to impeach platform. Right? You had people that went there right away, and a lot of Republicans did that. They're like, "Hey, we can't go there. We're not gonna support the insurrection. We're not gonna support the subversion of democracy. We're going to go forward with the peaceful transference of power. Let's get the inauguration on. Let's get the workings of the country of democracy going again." But then right after that, within a few weeks, you have the top person in the Republican Party, Kevin McCarthy, going down to kiss the ring on Trump's hand as Trump sets up the office of the former president of the United States down there. Now, the Republican Party has given him a little over $70 million to spend however he sees fit. Now, Trump, when you give him $70 million, he's going to blow it on something stupid because he can't keep his
Like he
finances
did
in
with
order
the
on anything.
249 million that he raised after the election in order to defend the
Right.
steal. And once the
And did nothing.
insurrection happened, like all donations pretty much tanked. Straight up.
Tanked.
And
Right.
I think the GOP sees really, we all know what their fundamental underlying premise is: power and money, right? Power and greed. And
Right.
we've seen
Right.
PACs, we've seen corporations, we've talked about this on past shows, how they have pulled their funding. They're not going to be sponsoring any candidates. They're going to be staying away from Republican candidates until this is all sorted out. Maybe that's why folks like Kinzinger popped his mealy little meerkat head out and squeaked, he could get some money for his new venture, maybe. Maybe that is what really was the driving force. Maybe it isn't the crazy Q conspiracies, and maybe it wasn't the insurrection. I'm going to, I really wasn't this cynical, and right now I'm going to say, I bet it's that they saw the money pulling out and they saw the dollar signs for their own campaign funds.
Well, we right here, the representative of the 75th House in Illinois, came and spoke out against the insurrection. Now, the senator that I ran against, the Illinois state senator that I ran against, did not, but her Republican counterpart in the House, Illinois House, absolutely did. And now the Q that he has backed and fostered and fed and worked with since they were the Tea Party and then the Freedom Movement and now the QAnon, those people that he's fostered have turned on him viciously. And we've seen this. The thing is that in the Illinois Republican Party, and I'm going to roll it back to when the Tea Party was around, because remember, Barack Obama was from Illinois. So when the Koch brothers decided that everything that Barack Obama did was going to be bad, they specifically went after Illinois. In fact, helped get Bruce Rauner elected our governor.
They did,
at
yeah.
one point because, yeah. And so it's the big GOP, but mostly it was the Koch brothers that did that. But what they did was they laid the groundwork and made this network of vicious Tea Party. I mean, vicious. Listen, when I ran for office, because I primaried through, I didn't have a primary opponent, I got to meet them face to face at all kinds of events, especially parades. And they're nasty. They're nasty, evil, low down people.
When we talk
And they
about,
have morphed.
go ahead, honey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they've morphed into this because, and I link a lot of the QAnon stuff. I link that to the pandemic because I think it made people ripe for having these conspiracy theories planted in their brain. I think, if you're home too much and don't have enough to do, I'm a farmer, I got plenty to do, so I don't have to buy into the Q thing. But I think what happened is they laid this network, and they softened the ground. So when the conspiracy theories fell down on these people, they were ripe and ready to go. And they have fed this with the anti-masker crusade that started with Darren Bailey downstate Illinois. He's down south of Effingham, so he's way downstate. So they were fed all this Q conspiracy thing over the masks for and mitigations for the state of Illinois. And that has fed this little subversive group. And we have very active QAnon, especially in the 16th district here in Illinois, where Adam Kinzinger comes from. And I think he underestimated them because they have really gone after him. Marie, they held
But
rallies
Adam has been used to being gone after forever. I mean, we have been when Adam was not in the 16th district, they have been, we have been hounding, emailing, calling, writing, stalking, protesting. We know that he's used to that sort of behavior, right? So,
well, but that's a small percent of us. That's about 40% in his district that vote against him consistently, that try to get meetings with him, that who he's voted against our health care. He's voted against women's rights. He's voted to put kids in cages. He's voted to
okay, can I just interject something here, honey? I got to ask a question.
Yeah.
So, Republicans have nothing except obstruction. That is the only tool in their box. They never put forth any plans unless they involve raping the economy and the average person financially. So we know that's the driving force behind what they do. We know power and control, which includes the curtailing of women's health care, reproductive freedom. So we know that's what they are. They have been that way since the beginning of time. And yet this Q thing comes along. It fits right in, right on brand. Half of all of the Republican Party, except for Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Mitt Romney, are all on board with this, knowing that it is not real, knowing that it is damaging, knowing that it caused an insurrection and almost overthrew the government. Yet none of them were on board with standing up for any of this leading up to it. So we come to this precipice where Adam Kinzinger tried really hard to be sure Trump noticed him. And when Adam first came out and talking about Trump lost the election, we should be, I'm upset with my counterparts for denying that he lost the election.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I was a little surprised. I was expecting something wonky. And as it turns out, I figure that's what has happened. And I think he and his new wife are making a very calculated bet that the money will come. The votes may come from the Q crazies, but the money, because he knows Donald Trump is broke, will come from the corporations. It will come from the Lincoln Project folks who want to go back to Adam Kinzinger and be like, oh, look at this man. He's standing up, so brave. And no, this guy was at Trump's teat every minute until he wouldn't. He wasn't even acknowledged by the Trump sphere. He tried so hard a year ago, going on the news circuits and going on Fox and tweeting love for Donald Trump. And he got passed over for the Secretary of the Air Force. And at that moment, I think he was like, well, I have no more anything to give. I think my bucket's done.
Yeah, but Murray, he still voted with Trump over 90% of the time.
97% of the time, Heidi.
Yeah.
90%. He voted 100% of the time, let's just say.
Nobody is more aware of how poorly my congressman has represented me than I am.
I ran against the dude.
And you ran against him. I know. So up and down how horrible and heinous he is. And you came out to run against him in 2018, so less than 2 years into the Trump presidency, when you could see Adam Kinzinger finally had his wet dream come true. He was finally going to be able to oppress women and black and brown people and have all of his dreams come true, right? Bomb anybody. Oh, Adam, so happy. But then along comes the Q conspiracy, and Adam's been, now he was probably pretty lucky this year because he didn't have to go out and campaign a whole lot. He didn't have to show up anywhere. Not that he did before. I mean, I haven't seen him in person now for a couple, 2, 3 years. And anytime I saw him in person was
Heidi,
because I
we could have gotten him anytime we wanted. All we needed was a video camera.
what?
All we could have had him anywhere he
Oh, that's
was.
right. If we
All
had
we needed is a video camera. I mean, honestly, here, folks, just so you know, the most dangerous place to be around Adam Kinzinger is between him and a television camera or a
That's true.
microphone.
Some of my friends in the individual groups have been moved out of the way to accommodate Adam's shot, because he's not a very tall man, so you got to make sure nobody's blocking him. And that's okay. You don't have to be a tall man, but he's very conscious about how he looks on TV.
Did you
And
notice he
married
started
a
shaving?
woman again. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah. For a while, it was looking.
he went through during the Trump era, scruffy beard face, scruffy beard, half shaven, and he kept
That
it
was
that
during-
way until
that was
after
during
Trump lost the
COVID.
election.
That was during COVID, remember? Because originally they said if you have a beard, you can't wear a mask or it doesn't help. So if you notice, that's when Ted Cruz grew his beard. Everybody was growing beards right then, so they didn't
Yeah,
have
but
to wear
Adam
masks.
Adam had that scruffy crap back 2 years ago, well before
Was
COVID.
it the last year? I don't think so. I don't
Yes,
think
he
so,
did.
2
Look at
years ago.
look at when he debated Sarah. I remember that very clearly.
Oh.
He debated Sarah, and it was such a sign of disrespect that he couldn't even shave for an on town hall.
Disrespectful. He's
I
a
know.
disrespectful rodent. I mean, I can't stand the man.
And his
the fact
parent
that-
and his family's disowned him.
Well, yeah, his uncle sent him a registered letter the other day telling him he's now part of the Devil's Army. And they took up a petition against him. Now,
Can I ask,
I'm not
did
sure.
it have to be registered? Why did his uncle send him a registered letter? He couldn't just text him?
Is it when he decided when he decided to cut off food SNAP benefits for people, when he decided that it was okay to put children in cages, when he decided that nobody should have health care unless you're very wealthy, when he added $2 trillion to the national debt or voted for that didn't put him in the Devil's Army. But
When he voted
this
against
does?
impeaching Donald John Trump after the first time he tried to start
Telling ya.
extorted a foreign
Telling ya.
government? Yeah.
It sounds like his uncle has been subverted by the QAnon. So, and I told you this excellent story about Nancy Pelosi today. Now, when Speaker Pelosi refers to people from that are anti impeachment, instead of, because we either have a D or an R or an I after your name, now she puts a Q. So Devin Nunes Q instead of R. From
But we have to be
California.
careful.
I saw it today and I just about died.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was awesome. But I want people to understand, and I want people to not forget. We have so often in history forgotten the lessons that we've been taught. And I am concerned, less so because of what I've seen out of the White House, but I am still concerned that those Democrats who feel the center way is the way to go, we can still get some votes, we need it to be bipartisan. I was watching Rachel last night, and Rachel had an amazing show, and she was breaking down every time the Republicans would come to the table to negotiate, even though the Democrats didn't need them to. That they wouldn't necessarily add anything to the bill, but they would take things away from the bill and make it marginally worse over and over and over again. They did that
Especially
with
for the people at the
they
bottom.
cut everything down. In fact, she relates the story of Barack Obama from his novel, or not his novel, his oh shoot, what's the name of it? Steve's listening to it right now.
Podcast?
No, Obama's new book that came out last summer. I can't remember. So he's talking, and he says that he's sitting down with Chuck Grassley. And he had, this was during the healthcare, after they'd already been screwed over once in the beginning of the administration, during the healthcare part. And he said Chuck was the one who was negotiating, and Chuck was the one who was trying to make it go. And he said Chuck comes in, and they'd already bent over backwards and dismantled the bill. And he says, now Chuck says, well, I want this and this and this and this. And he said, so let me ask you a question. He said, if we gave you absolutely everything you want right here and right now, would you sign on to this bill? Would you vote for it? And Chuck Grassley got real sheepish and he looked down a little bit and he said, is there anything that we could put in this that would get you to vote for it? And Chuck Grassley said, well, probably not, Mr. President. Because they never had the intention. And the whole point is, for all of these bills, they dig, and Chuck Grassley is touted. There's video of him claiming victory on dismantling. In fact, he stated, you would have had health care 10 years ago if it wasn't for me. So their whole job is to tear down and destroy. So why are they bothering to come out in this new way? Why are they bothering with just the three of them to try to make a stand against the Q crazy? It just doesn't make sense.
I don't know where it's headed or what. I think in the case, Mitt Romney doesn't have anything to lose, and Liz Cheney doesn't, because she's the only House member of Congress in the House from Wyoming. She's the only one. She is the daughter of Dick Cheney, who apparently, if he doesn't like you, will shoot you and get away with it.
Hey, he didn't shoot his other daughter yet, though.
No, but she's
the one he disowned. Right,
yeah.
Right. She's not worth a bullet in his mind.
No, and she did. I think it's Mary, and she doesn't have anything to do, I don't think, with Liz or Dick.
She doesn't.
And I don't blame her. You know, Liz has come out strong against gay marriage and, or you know, a Marriage Equality Act, and that really hurt her. Her sister Mary really hurt her bad, and I can't imagine.
You saw that
someone unhappy.
You saw Matt Gaetz. He went to Montana. Wyoming. To rile up the crazies, to get them to harm Liz Cheney. Okay, so and then you have Adam Kinzinger standing up when Adam was afraid of a canvasser who came to his door and looked in the window. Mr. I got a gun and I'll shoot. And yet he's willing to take on all of that hatred, that animosity, that fear, right? He's bringing it onto his new darling little bride and their new little life. For what? What is his end game? You know he's a calculating SOB. 90% of this is all dog and pony show, but I haven't figured out to what end.
Well, and I think his wife, who's a PR consultant,
who, by the way, was a aide for John Boehner and Mike Pence. Okay, this chick has been, she's beautiful. She's stunning. She's Latin, which is shocking that white bread Adam would do that. And it's shocking that Adam would be involved with a woman at all. Because, you know, just because. So here's this woman who is clearly an integral part of the DC circuit. She knows her way around. She's a PR master. She hooks up with Adam, who's never been able to have a girlfriend for more than 6 weeks. And he's shaving, and now all of a sudden he's coming out against Donald Trump. It seems...
She's grooming him to run for the Illinois Senate. And while we were talking, just as pre-show, I got a text from my best friend ever, my very best friend from junior high, my friend Brian. And Brian, if you're listening, and I hope you are, but Brian was asking me, what's going on with your congressman? You know, he seems like he's saying all the right things. No, Brian, Kool-Aid, run away. He's not that guy.
And that is it. So, we are going to see the dregs of society. I disown my sister because she's a lesbian. I go hunting with dad shooting you in the face. Adam Kinzinger, poser of all posers, who is spit out of the GOP representative factory that they create all of these little troglodytes that follow the Ken model, right? And people are, oh, he's the heart and soul. Oh, she's standing up. Screw that. Do not forget the only reason that they are standing up at all, at least Adam, is that it is financially and career advantageous for him. That's it.
Well, I look at I look at what's going on with Adam right now, and I think he did take a calculated risk to try to prove himself as a moderate if he's going to run for Senate against Tammy Duckworth, who's a war hero. Um,
And they're both
and then you've got
military.
and then you've got Adam, but Adam is a flyboy for the National Guard, Air National Guard, not qualified to be the Secretary of the Air Force. Let me tell
Oh,
you,
but let
not
me
that
tell
any of
you
Trump's
though, he would fit right in there. You're right. He doesn't have nearly the military record that Tammy Duckworth has.
right.
But he does have policy chops. He's been in Congress for a long ass time. And no, he
Oh, I
doesn't
know.
actually have any policy chops. He has the appearance of policy chops. He has the appearance of
Well,
experience.
and
And
the
you're right.
Republican Party has been grooming him for higher office since before they created the 16th congressional district in Illinois, which is like this from Wisconsin all the way to Indiana, and you
Indiana.
know that. Yeah, it better than anybody for all the driving that you did when you were running for that office. How difficult that district is, but it was carved out for Adam because the Republican Party wanted to make sure that he was on the rise with the trajectory, I believe, to become president or vice president one day. That's what I think they were. Now we've got this
See,
whole,
I have a slightly different
this
take,
whole
though.
mess.
I don't
Yeah.
think that, I think he always had eyes on that. I believe his family wanted that for him. I believe that's what he
Well,
wanted.
not anymore because now he's part of the Devil's Army.
But the GOP though, I don't believe the GOP for some reason ever really had him as a darling. I don't
Oh,
recall.
he
He has been
does.
a fringe GOPer since the fold of the GOP has not embraced him the way they have many others.
Then why did they create the 16th for him? And you know that was created for him. That
Well,
was
that was more
created.
of a local issue because of the state decides that, not necessarily maybe the Illinois Republican Party,
Maybe the
but not
Illinois.
You might be right on that, but not on a national
Nothing,
level. I don't think.
nothing happens in a vacuum. Nothing happens in a vacuum. But I think what we're seeing with Adam right now, the pushback, because I live, and ladies and gentlemen, that just in October I was in court fighting the local QAnon that were going to kill me, and trying to get restraining orders
All
because
right, can I
I,
just say
I
I'm sad?
disagreed
No
with
one ever
them.
tries to kill me. I'm annoying.
You
Why
know,
doesn't anyone try to kill me?
I don't because I don't think they're as big
I'm
by
a
you as they
loudmouth.
are in Grundy. County.
Oh, I
No,
don't
but
know,
I mean
girl.
they're very in Will County. They're very active in Grundy and LaSalle County because we even have police officers that are out there about being on the QAnon squad. So I think with Adam, I'm very curious to see how this impeachment's going to proceed because do they still have Murkowski to vote? Yes, on that. And they still have, I think they've got a couple more GOP senators that said they would vote yes. And trust me, if anybody votes no on impeachment, they're part of the insurrection sympathizers. They really are. And so you have, instead of the 6 holdouts, you have more that say no, we can't impeach. And I think it's because they're starting to get afraid because of what happened to Adam Kinzinger over the weekend and what happened to Liz Cheney is they have Kinzinger, they had rallies throughout his district here in the 16th. They had one in Ottawa, Illinois, Saturday, embarrassingly enough, because that's right in my stomping grounds, in your old stomping grounds. 150 people showed up in the snow with their tattered Trump flags and tattered little Gadsden flags and their stars and bars whooping and hollering about, you know, it's embarrassing to live out here some days. I swear to God. This is why my children don't live out here anymore. They're like, so where did you raise us? And not everybody, but about 60% of the people that live out here are.
Come on, girl. Don't be doing that to me. You know what's happening. Don't be doing that to me.
I know. So, but and originally when we heard about this, the Indivisible group thought, well, yeah, how many times have we protested in front of Adam Kinzinger's office for health care, for kids in cages, for Supreme Court, and judicial not back stacking? How many times have we stood in front of his of his office about the post office and the
Immigration.
immigration, the tax scam, all of those
Minimum
times, and that
wage.
didn't matter. Yeah, that didn't matter to any
So
of those
so
people.
so
They were there because they love authoritarians. They love Trump. They're the party of Trump. As this splits, because Trump has formed his own political party, he's had McCarthy down there to kiss his ring, and then you have Adam Kinzinger started the Country First PAC. If that doesn't sound like America First, a little Nazi, I don't know,
maybe
but
she should have, being a PR rep, maybe she should have gone a different direction with that. His wife.
well, I think she was taking a calculated risk because I think behind every successful man they say is a powerful woman, right? Right now, that woman should just push that man out of the way and go forward on her own. But I think she's
No,
trying to
because
propel
women are
him
just as
forward.
evil as men. And we're going to talk
Oh yeah,
about that
no, but I
on our series. Women are evil. No, I'm kidding. We're not actually doing that. But we are going to go in to continue our series on the GOP and on women
yeah.
and their movements into this extremism. And you know what,
Well,
Heidi?
Murray, you
Go
said
ahead.
something really great about these the party splitting, and some of them were going to do something, and I loved the phrase. Do you remember what it was?
I do, yeah. All of the Republicans are following Trump off the flat Earth cliff. You know, I mean, it's there. The Earth is flat. All the Q is going right off it,
They're going right over, and
right over the flat Earth cliff.
yeah, right over the flat Earth cliff and into the abyss. And you know, I can't say I'll miss them, but I just wish they would turn around and face facts. They haven't looked at a fact in 5 years. I don't know
I
if they can.
guess, I guess one of the most important things for me, for our listeners, you know, we've all been through hell. We have all had a very emotional several years, to say that in the nicest way possible. And I know there are some of you that see Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney, although Mitt I really think is just a genuinely decent human being. But the
Yeah.
other ones, and they're standing up now. But I really want you to remember they didn't stand up when children were separated on purpose. It was a design plan, and we have proof, we have the documents that show it was. They didn't stand up when they wanted to take away our right to a court, a justice system that is equal and balanced. They called those of us who were standing fighting for the black and brown people's necks who were being choked. They called us the problem. And don't forget, when these America, we love our country bull crap pops up, they are nothing. They are opportunistic leeches sucking at the teat of the failure of Donald Trump. And that's all it
I
is.
well, and I agree, Marie. And
Sorry, I
I
lost my
would
temper again.
no, but I don't want people to think that Adam Kinzinger is
A good
some
guy?
type of hero. He's not a hero.
No, he's
He has
not.
been
He's a
he's
cockroach.
been he has been a
A
reprehensible
cockroach has more
cockroach,
personality than he does.
probably.
You
And
know,
he's which any way the wind blows, that's where Adam is going. And you know, the fact that he is cultured and cultivated and fed these fringe people for so long, and now he's surprised they turned on him. Well, honey, you schooled them and you taught them to be the way they are. You didn't tell them. You know, when we stood across the street and towards the end of the Trump presidency, before COVID became an issue, the last few demonstrations we had in front of, which were peaceful, a candlelight vigil we had, and yeah, and it's like a candlelight vigil for democracy. It was one of the last things we did, and we're out there, and his supporters, Adam supporters, Trump supporters, were across the street and kept rushing us and kept trying. The police were there, and this is in Ottawa, Illinois. You have 70, 80 retired or professional people or students out there standing in front of Adam Kinzinger's office trying to preserve democracy. And there's 14, 15 Trumper Kinzinger supporters on the other side. And all they want to do is kill us. I mean, threaten to kill us over and over again because we're trying to save democracy. They don't care. And Adam, these are the people you raised and nurtured. not the people we did. We were mad at you when you were putting children in cages. We were mad at you when you were advocating for the bombing of black and brown people around the globe. We were mad at you when you decided to give a tax scam to Trump and voted to increase our national deficit by $2 trillion. We were mad at you when you wanted to subvert the post office to appease Trump. We were mad at you when you voted 7 times to take away our health care.
Not when you denied that Trump lost an election and that Democrats don't eat babies. Come on, man. These guys, we have to remember wherever we are, we have to keep in mind history. Can people change their minds? Absolutely. Can people have changes of heart? Yes. But I'm sorry, Christmas is over and the ghost of Christmas past, future, and present did not visit him in the last 2 months. I'm just saying.
No, because in the last week he came out spouting off about the Hyde Amendment, which is just to oppress
So he wants to
women of color
continue
and poor people
this
from
the
having
traditional values of the Republican Party, which, as Heidi mentions frequently, the conservative values. Which, what the hell are they trying to conserve? They're trying to conserve their power
well,
and whiteness,
right? They're
and that's
by,
what he wants to
by
go back to.
oppressing women.
So really,
Yeah.
that's your option. You either get crazy baby eating, fire breathing crotch monsters,
Well,
or you get conservativeness. Forget it. Ugh.
oh, Murray, I mean, the only thing the Republican Party was willing to conserve in the past was the wealth of the 1%
And white
and
male
the
power.
regulation. And the regulation of women, because when you regulate any part of our bodies, you dehumanize us.
And that goes back to what we're going to talk about in one of our upcoming episodes with the series that we are doing. We are going to talk about how the white supremacist movement in America was fueled by the Puritan Protestant virginity of the white woman. And there are so many things behind it that are just insane, guys. We hope you will join us as we go down that trail. And we know we went a little bit over time, but there's a lot to unpack here with the GOP splitting and with Adam Kinzinger. But as we wrap up, I want you to know you can always hear us rant insanely on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Facebook Live at 3 p.m. And this week, if you're listening to this before Thursday, February, I don't even know what year it is. This Thursday, we're going to be on Ben Jarofsky's show at 2 o'clock. So you get a double dose of the mamas. You can listen to Ben, and then when it's done, come on over and listen to us. So be sure to tune in, like, subscribe, share your feelings about this, because this whole middle of the road thing is just a big scam like everything else the GOP does. And for more about us, you can find us at Heartland Mamas.
MAMAS.com. We'll see you Thursday, everybody. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Thank you.